This is the Toy Dolls. 45 years of
45 RPM.
1985 September this time.
Yep.
Olga.
Yep.
And we're looking at a single today co-written with John Bentham.
Yeah.
A friend of the band. And this is James Bond, brackets, lives down our street.
Yeah.
I guess the first thing to ask is about the identity of the character who resembled James Bond and lived down your street.
Yeah.
Can you divulge?
Well, that was down John Street.
Uh-huh.
He come up with the idea. He said, I've got an idea for a song. It's called James Bond Lives Down Our Street. And he sent me what he had. It didn't have the oh-ohs, it didn't have all those bits in. Had little bits of the verse, and I worked with what he had, and then just finished it off, really. But I would say it was his concept, really, even though probably 60 or 70% of the song was written by me, but it was mainly his idea.
Yeah. And he was creative fella, so he'd worked with you on the Penshaw Monument.
He'd done the Penshaw Monument video and the Idle Gossip videos, but he wrote this by himself. He just sent me what he had. Never worked together in the studio or anything. It's all done separately.
Interesting, yeah. And Griefsville on the 12-inch version gives us a glimpse of another side of Olga, the lovesick, troubled young lad.
Yeah.
It's tempting to think this song was about Kendra, as it's her era.
Yeah, I'm a miserable bastard. It was me mourning about her, really. Yeah. It was about Kendra.
You've never really seemed to have an interest, not an interest, you'd never to have a problem, rather, pouring your soul out in your music like this if you've gone through a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, when you just sit by yourself and you haven't got any friends out, I think the best way to do it is actually in music. Write lyrics and get it out there, and it gets it out of your system. Yeah. And sometimes you can write the better songs, even though that wasn't one of the better songs.
Well, some would say, but I wouldn't. Yeah, but it's a part of the healing process, I suppose.
It's exactly that.
Yeah, okay. Another Kendra-inspired song and a live fan favourite for many years is Olga I Cannot, which is on the B-side as well here. It might be worth, for the benefit of anyone who doesn't know the story, outlining the background of how you met Kendra.
I made an appearance at a pub in Durham called the Ramside Hall. Then I saw this cute little girl who I've become besotted with for some reason. And then I just couldn't put her out in my mind for a year. And I used to follow her and send her messages and phone calls and, well, you know the story.
Yeah. It's you did say once after about a seventh or eighth pint that you talked to me with a real frown on you. Oh, the difference between love and infatuation and being besotted of someone. It was a case of that, really. It wasn't. You might have thought you were in love at the time, but it was.
Well, I was in love. I was besotted. Yeah, it wasn't love. Obviously, you can't love someone that you don't know. And I didn't know her. I just could see that she looked cute, And I did some silly things like get an aeroplane and say, "Go out with me, Kendra," and I followed her to Lorette, Demar, and totally embarrassing things. Not as embarrassing as ringing the Territorial Army and organising a tank to go down a boyfriend's street. But we'll not go into that because I'm not a stalker anymore.
No, indeed not. No. I couldn't, even from what you said there, I couldn't possibly
of course not.
That.
No.
But it was a period of great infatuation, and there were some incidences of fairly hefty behaviour towards trying to win her affections around.
Yeah, and none worked. So there you go. I even wrote "Meet Me at the Red Hills" on the label of the
That's right.
the record of the record pressing.
It's we've all been through these times in our lives.
Yeah, but I've done a few times though. Anyway,
right. And Dean Robson was back in the band by this stage on bass, having previously.
Dean was a drummer. I think he was the second drummer.
Yeah.
And then he became the bass guitar player. Nice guy.
How do you remember Dean's contribution to the band and across both instruments?
He was better on the bass guitar. He was a really, really nice lad. He didn't like being called Dean James because he didn't like the James Dean thing.
That's right.
But I thought it was a good idea. But it was nice. It was nice to be away with him. Good lad.
Yeah. And Teddy was a great drummer as well. It must have been interesting to compare the skills and strengths of the different drummers you have playing behind you on the stage.
Yeah, see, Teddy was in a car crash once and he's doing something to his leg, so he couldn't do fancy stuff with his leg. He could just keep it bumped. But perfect. Really, he was probably the best at doing the apart from Duncan. He was excellent. Yeah, he was really good, and another lovely lad as well.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
not a very good singer though. So he couldn't do the singing very well, no, but a good drummer.
Well, it's swings and roundabouts. I suppose everyone has. If you get a great bass player or a great drummer who happens to be able to sing very well, like Duncan can, then fantastic.
Yeah.
But it can't always be the case, I suppose. Yeah. And on the recording, the female voice was provided by Terry's wife, Terry from the Studio's wife, apparently. It's been a fun part of the Toy Dolls recording history, drafting in characters to do different voices and reactions and so on. Do you think of this as important in giving life and context to a particular recording, bringing in little cameos like that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't start writing the album with all these little bits, to shove in. But I think once you've got the album written, it's nice to have these little links, like That's Life album by Sham 69, where they've got the links between the songs. I like it anyway.
Yeah. And you enjoy, and we'll talk about this in another chat later on, but you really enjoy having people in helping with backing vocals and different things like that, and it being more of a community experience.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's so easy to lose your voice when you're doing the backing vocals that you can't usually always have me doing them because by the time I get to doing the singing, the lead vocals, my voice is gone. Yeah, as you know.
Yeah. Well, that's James Bond Lived Down Our Street, and also a 2-part ode to Kendra, which eventually fizzled out. The infatuation fizzled out, did it?
No.
Still there, is it?
It's fizzled out.
It's still kept alive when you're doing it on stage.
Exactly.
So, thanks very much, Olga.
Thank you.